So Viv Rusco very politely invites the players to lag. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the Battle of the Darrens on the left-hand side of your screen. I'm sure you'll recognise Darren Appleton. And on the right-hand side, maybe the not quite so familiar Darren Mcvicar. There's Darren Appleton, Dynamite Darren. What a familiar face he is. Of course, had a prolific career in English 8-ball before travelling as a journeyman across to the States and pretty much taken the game by storm over there. Now has his own series, the World Pool Series, and that is nobody quicker than Darren Mcvicar. He is a fast, explosive player. As we've already discussed in previous occasions, Darren has a maximum break you can see on YouTube, a 147 that he did in something along the lines of 4 minutes 40 seconds, and he was spotting his own balls as well. So a maximum break on a snooker table, absolutely genuine. Just have a look at Darren Mcvicar's 147 on YouTube. That's impressive to watch. But for now, we're going to watch Darren against Darren, and it's Mcvicar who gets this break underway in frame number 1. He pots a red, and he will be going for reds. One obvious problem is the ball to the side cushion. I would expect him to, I would have expected him to try and double that, only because of where the yellow was next to it. By playing into it, he's always going to be in danger of that yellow causing him some problems, and I think he's okay. Played that shot really well. Controlled it nicely. He's still got to put in some legwork with the cue ball now, though. He's got to down table and back up table. None of this should present a problem. He can play into space here, just be aiming for somewhere around about the black spot. So somewhere around about the blue spot on a snooker table, should I say. And now, oh, there's an unwanted flick. That's going to make the black slightly more tricky, just playing off the rail, but you're fancying for this. And this is what Darren Mcvicar can do. Very, very fast, explosive player. And opens his account with a break dish. And that's exactly how it would have played out in his head before he came to the event. Really good stuff. And Darren Appleton just sits on and watches. He'll be coming to the table in a second with his chance at revenge. Let's have a look at the earlier scores. A couple of shocks maybe. One of them, Zach Cooper beat Greg Batten 11 frames to 7. Stefan Rosidi 11-0 against Andy Barber. Jimmy Croxton 11-2 against Bash Maksood. Ben Forty beat Cole Bedford 11-8. We saw Chris Melling beat Lee Washbrook 11-6. Callum Singleton went through 11-4 against Alex Bailey. Gaz Hibbert 11-1 against Liam Pedley. The Matthew Schofield versus Ben Rowland game still underway. That's currently 10 frames to 8 in favour of Matt. Rob Chilton beat Gareth Higgins 11-5. And Sean Chipperfield whitewashed Mandeep Jinger 11-0. Josh Kane still in action against Martin Hazel. And Josh is 10-7 up. So the real shocker there, I guess, would be the Zach Cooper result, because I think Greg Batten was, I don't think the bookie was offering any odds. And I think Zach Cooper was about 5-1 to win that. So there's the one big shock in there. Of course, Ian Alley went through against Cameron Dunlop, and now we're in amongst the second session games. A dry one from Darren Appleton. And During the introduction this morning, Gaz Potts called this as a potential banana skin for Darren Appleton. His mind probably not been entirely focused on English 8-ball. He got the invitation to go and play in that warm-up match for the Moscone against the American team, and he's been playing on the 9-ball table for the last 2 or 3 weeks, so maybe not the most ideal preparation for this event. And as I say, Darren Mcvicar on his day, I remember we didn't cover the game, but I remember he played in one of the events in Savannah, and he blew away Ronan McCarthy. I think it was something like 17-9. So more than capable player. And this is about the longest you'll ever see him take over a shot. It's just deciding his best course of action. A frantic cure of the ball. He feathers the ball really quickly. Doesn't matter, even if he's playing a very slow shot, he's really, as I say, quite frantic in the way he addresses the ball. Always a very busy player. You see his eyes darting around the table, trying to find his best route. I think he's just under where he wanted to be there. Still has a plant, but I think he was trying to get up somewhere close to the bulk line so he could drop the red into the middle. He may have it as a plant, as a double. Asking the ref to clean the red. He's spotted a chalk mark on it. Referee Viv puts her glasses on. The school teacher look. She works in a school actually, so it's not unusual for her to be looking like a school teacher. Giving that ball her attention. And Gaz Potts has joined me on commentary. Hello again, Gaz.
Hello.
You can see the addition of the clock in the top left. I was just saying that you called this as a potential banana skin for Darren Appleton. Maybe his mind's not quite been focused on English 8-ball for the last couple of weeks with the warm-up game for the Moscone Cup. And Darren Mcvicar broken dish the first frame, and Darren Appleton went dry in this one. So looks like he's going to take full advantage of. Oh wow! Commentator's curse yet again. Was he just trying to come around that little?
Well, I presume he tried to check it off the top cushion and come into. I don't know what he played, to be honest, but I don't know if he's half got away with this, whether it goes, and if it doesn't go direct, I think he can definitely make it off the yellow. It's thin, but especially if he plays it off the yellow, it's thin, and I'm not sure where the cue ball's going, but that looks in.
He's in trouble there.
So his kicking skills are going to have to be good, and this is a shot where you just get quite close to the middle pocket with left hand side, and then just pick your point on the top cushion, where the players. Well, he's coming off the top cushion. He should be kicking this off the side rail. I think there's a.
Oh dear, that was
a wrong choice. He should have been kicking that off the side cushion with left hand side to try and kick the black end to the right corner.
So ball in hand for Darren. Anywhere on the table. I would expect him maybe to try attacking these two balls adjacent to the right corner pocket. Don't think they plant. Yeah, I thought he might be trying to take one of these out. It's going to open up the table for him.
Although he's not been, sorry Nick, although he's not been playing loads lately, and he has been playing some English pool and then went to play some American pool, which probably isn't the best preparation. Straight away there, you see, he just shook his head that he'd lost the cue ball. It flew back sort of probably 3 inches further than he thought he was going to.
Controlled that well, though.
Although it isn't the best preparation, one thing that Appleton has got is an unbelievable will to win, and
Yeah.
he does find a way to win. Wouldn't have played it that close to the middle,
No.
and he wouldn't have played it that close to the middle. I mean, so just takes a few frames, obviously, to feel your way in, but yeah, he does somehow find ways to win.
Incredible pull brain on him, isn't he? His patterns are usually just spot on.
Frame.
I did say I thought it was a potential banana skin for him, but Darren Mcvicar's got to make sure that he cuts out silly mistakes like that, and when you have easy finishes like that, obviously against someone as good as Appleton, you've got to make sure that you take those chances, because the start of the match is important for Mcvicar, because if he gets on top of him early and puts him under pressure, for one, you're not playing any cue sports much. Certainly hasn't played much English 8-ball over the last sort of 10 years. When you're under pressure, you revert back to sort of what comes natural to you. And if he gets on top of him early and doesn't let him settle, it's definitely not easy. If he keeps gifting him chances like that, then obviously he is going to lose the match.
Such a psychological difference as well between, you know, coming to the table at 2 frames up, 2-0 with the break. Now, all of a sudden, even though it's so early in the match, it's just that psychological difference where he comes now and he's got that little bit of pressure on him. Now he has to. He could have come and broke at 2-0 up, and if he went dry, it's not the end of the world. Now, you know, this is when your arm tightens up slightly, and
yeah, you're right, and especially at the start of a match, you know, to come to the table 2 frames behind, where you haven't touched the table, you haven't fouled, you know, you haven't even played a shot. It's a big difference coming to the table, you know, say 7-5 behind, 2-0 down, not touch the table, your opponent's cleared twice from the break, you still feel a bit edgy. You don't actually settle until your first frame goes on the board anyway. Confident pot, straight away, stunned onto the cushion, flicked his only bad ball out into the open. One thing I've noticed is he does cue up to the cue ball very quick.
yeah,
Mcvicar, if you notice, his feathers are really, really quick watch.
frantic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really quick. But one thing he does do is, and what your feathers ultimately do is, your feathers are there for the distance control and the speed control of the cue ball. That's essentially what the feathers do. So when he's cueing up so fast like that, you can see how sometimes the cue ball's running a little bit wild, because when he's feathering so quick, I just find it hard to sort
To
of...
then settle, because his last stroke back is obviously...
He slows and he pauses a little bit, but it's all like sort of almost one big rush a little bit. If you look, he does pause and he does sort of get that nice pause, which is where the timing comes from. But the feathers are basically a speed and distance control of where the cue ball's going to go.
Even when he's playing a soft and delicate shot, he's still got that kind of... It's almost a stabby motion.
See, Daz just sort of frowned and looked at him there as if to say, oh, I can't believe he didn't screw that back. But on the score sheet, it doesn't say how, it just says who, and he got the finish.
2 frames to 1, where in reality could have been 3-0, quite easily been 3-0. So, but he's done what he needs to do in his 2. He's won his the 2 frames he's broken. He wasn't, you know, Darren broke the last frame, and you know, so it was a chance for Darren Mcvicar to take one against the serve as it was. But, as I say, on his own break, he's done what he needed to do. 2 breaking dishes. Just having a chat with his West Country compatriots.
And he's a nice guy, Mcvicar, and I was having a chat with him yesterday when they arrived. And he said he was looking forward to this match. And although he's a nice guy, I got the impression that he certainly wouldn't be scared of Appleton. Obviously, all he plays is English 8 ball, so he's very comfortable with the cue ball, very comfortable with exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And I mean, I mentioned just before you arrived on commentary, I remember watching him in the elite at in Manchester, and I think he beat Ronan McCarthy 17-9, I think it was. So, you know, he's comfortable with taking these scalps. He's very capable. And another dry one from Darren Appleton. That will worry him already.
The first thing to note is he's breaking off with his American cue, his predator break cue, and secondly, he broke them at sort of almost, I don't know, 40-50% power at most. He just hit them as almost a stun, and I can only presume that he's been practicing a bit with the short rack and that he's worked a breakout that he feels though he can just sort of hit him at 40-50%, and he's worked a way out of making a ball because he did hit them quite slow. And in my opinion, from what I've seen, the way Chris broke and the way that Darren's been breaking so far, and they've all been making balls even into the bolt pockets, I think he's breaking too soft. But he must have felt as though he'd work some sort of sequence out in order for him to be breaking like that, otherwise he wouldn't be doing it. I think he needs to change it because that's 2 out of 2 dry. And at the level of this event, I don't think it matters too much who you play in the field. If you keep breaking dry and leaving finishes like this, you are going to get beat.
It was a tricky opener for Darren, but did a nice shot and pretty much opened up the frame. Wow. What's he done here?
You know, I said before, Nick, about the feathers, the distance control of the cue ball.
Yeah.
You don't ever really fancy him to miss a pot, but you do fancy him to play a bit of a slack positional shot, and I do think that is caused by a bit of the quickness of those feathers a little bit.
I mean, he was expecting that ball to travel another 2 feet, wasn't he? I assume that he was trying to get across by the blue spot. But he's such a great potter. He recovers well.
I don't know if I've ever actually seen anybody feather up quite so quick as that. It isn't one continuous motion. As I said, he does pause at the top of the backswing, but it is quite a little pause, and it is very quick. I'm surprised he hasn't got friction burns on his hands. Sometimes it's that quick.
So as quick as a flash, 4 frames have been played, and it's been quick action this morning. The opening match over in fairly record time. They played 17 frames in just a little over an hour, probably an hour and 15 minutes. Chris Day 4-0 up against Oli Bell. I must admit, I fancied Chris on that one, and the bookie did too. Chris was just a shade of a favourite. I think it was 8-11. Yannick Beaufils is playing one of the local players, local to Darren Mcvicar. They both play from the Plaza down in Plymouth, and that's Jamie Graham. Yannick Beaufils currently 2-1 up against Jamie. Declan Brennan opening his account, travelled across from Ireland. He's 1-0 up against Michael Steele. I think he travelled across with Ronan McCarthy. I saw a post on his Facebook showing Ronan stood at the airport. Apparently Declan had rang Ronan and said, should we get to the airport 15 minutes early just so we can, you know, make sure that everything's organised and we're all on time. And there was some quip from Ronan as if to say, don't worry about it, we'll be fine. And he turned up at the airport with no queue. He'd left his queue at home.
No, I'm not having that. It doesn't sound like Ronan.
I mean, how? How's that possible?
Oh, anything's possible when you're as laid back as Ronan, trust me.
You're coming over to play for 51 grand, and you forget the most vital piece of equipment. Dear me. So, unforced error from Darren Mcvicar on the break, going in off. That opens up this opportunity for Darren Appleton, which...
And he would have liked an angle there on the red that's in the middle of the table that he's going to be potting next. He would have liked an angle just to top forward and just to bump onto the left yellow of those two that are together and just to push that to the cushion. But I don't think he's quite got that angle. I think he's a bit too thick, so he's probably hitting the other one. And you know, I was saying about the sort of physics of the cue ball and where it's going. Well,
yeah.
He hit completely the wrong ball on the wrong side there.
I think he might be still okay. You can stun up and play the one in the middle next, and I think the one that's in kind of no man's land between the two yellows passes into right centre, and it's almost like a kind of natural, kind of almost kind of 3 stop shots.
No, it's actually foul perfect, but I think the more concerning thing from Darren's point of view will be is he doesn't quite know where the cue ball's going.
Yeah.
Okay, he got a bit lucky there, to be honest, and they felt like this because I think you're right, it does pass into the middle. But
I think he said that from event 1, didn't he? That it was exactly that, the physics of the cue ball that were letting him down slightly.
Yeah.
Potting ability is never in question, but it's just understanding. I think we saw that as well in one of the events when he was on the stream table. He was playing Jason Shaw and had a great chance to close the match out at 10 each, and he snookered himself on the black. Excuse me, snookered himself on the black, and that was just not knowing how that white ball was going to react.
And it's more likely to catch you out when you're under pressure because when the body's under pressure, you revert back to what comes natural to you, and you almost your default setting. And Darren's default setting will be American pool and the physics of where the balls are going on the American table.
So there you go. Have a look at that. All the information is on stream right now, on your screen. You will see that post. I think it's pinned to the top of the players' pool events page. You just need to like the post, share the post, and join the players' pool events Facebook group, which I'm sure you all have already. And you will have a chance to win that amazing Supreme Winner table. What a great opportunity.
Darren Appleton to break.
Be playing on one of these tables in your living room. So Darren, just to put a bit more into that break. Still not full pelt, is it? It's more kind of like about 70% for Darren, I would think.
Yeah, he put a bit more to, and he struck the cue ball in a different place. I think he went a bit higher on the cue ball there, so it was more of a stun rather than a screw. And too much screw means that the cue ball sort of pings back off the pack a little bit too much, and the weight doesn't transfer through it. So I think it's important that you don't screw it too much because I think you do lose a lot of power.
Yeah. Choosing reds here, and I think probably the key factor to that is the two yellows that are tied up just to the left of the centre line. There's no real natural ball to be able to attack that position and open them up. If there were more balls at this end of the table, he may well have gone yellows there and found a path.
No, and he's been a bit lucky again there. He'll take that because he potted it. He snicked the red in the middle of the table and left himself perfect on. He's only sort of half problem ball really. The red that's in the middle of the table, the one that's out there in the middle, just to the left of the blue spot, if you like, that will be his last ball because that's perfect to get onto the black. If the cue ball's where that red is, then that's really as good as he's going to get on the black. So he'll definitely be looking to leave that ball in the middle of the table to the last.
Probably just a touch straighter here than he wants to be. He's going to have to punch this on and off the side rail. He's absolutely fine.
This is perfect and quite a clever shot because he cheated the pocket there to create a bit of an angle.
And even leaving this dead straight would be absolutely fine, wouldn't it? he can leave this straight or any kind of small angle, and he's just perfect here.
Yeah, anything low on it is a bonus, but even dead straight, which, like I say, means that he'll pot the black from somewhere where the red is. It's perfect, so he can actually maybe get even a little bit closer now. Maybe just a couple of inches. You can see he's digging down, he'll just get a little bit closer. It was always a good ball to use because it meant that he was always guaranteed a shot on the black, and Darren's patterns will be as good as anyone. Yeah. So anyone wanting to learn how to play 8-ball with the patterns, then I don't think you can go too far wrong watching this.
And quick as a flash, Darren Appleton pulls back 2 frames, and it's 3 each. Back on serve. Darren Mcvicar will get frame number 7 underway. I predict this one is going to go close. I think maybe just a couple of frames in it. Darren Mcvicar, he is, fair to say, probably a little bit hit and miss. He's either going to come out and play brilliantly, and sometimes he can throw in a howler. So he looks good so far. He's lost the cue ball a couple of times, but he's potting well. And I was going to say he's breaking pretty well, but he's come up dry on that one.
Well, I think he is breaking well, Nick. I mean, yeah, he didn't pot a ball there, but he's still hitting me. I know that the cue ball was pinging about a little bit. One thing to note as well is most people that break off use the overhand grip off the cushion, if you like, to keep control of the cue. Where Darren was breaking off like a shot off your bridge hand there off the cushion, which I think probably loses a bit of control.
unforced error there from Darren Appleton, trying to punch that one into the top right pocket to make sure he came back for the one in the middle. It's cost him a shot there. I wonder if, given where the yellow is, I'm just see Darren not thinking clearly there. I don't think. I mean, was there not an opportunity to plant a red onto that yellow and then maybe leave Darren snookered behind one of his other reds? Loss of turn, and he has to play it and get out the snooker.
Yeah, there's an option of that. But the shot he played was a decent shot as well, because if he pots the yellow, then he's okay. If he kicks the red away like he did, he's okay. So in that instance, I don't necessarily think that was too much of a wrong shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do need to think in that situation of, right, I don't need to play the skill shot. I've got the option of playing the loss of turn shot.
Yeah.
And that's what I was coming back to when I keep saying about your mentality of it has to change of, right, he's got a ball over the pocket, but now I should gain an advantage from that.
So again, should be straightforward, just screwing the white back into open play. Takes a simple black, and Darren Mcvicar retakes the lead and is now 4-3 up. So just to clarify what we were talking about there, we were talking about the tactical shot, as it's called. So in essence, you can play a combination shot. You can play to pot. As long as you strike your own ball first, you can pot your opponent's ball. And if you fail to pot your own ball, then it's just loss of turn. The opponent comes to the table, and he has to play the cue ball from where it is. We've not really seen an instance of that yet, have we?
No,
in either match.
No, and
which is surprising.
Yeah, and in the interview we did after the Malin Washbrook game, that was one of the questions that I asked Lee about. There was an important frame at 6-5 that did require him playing one of those shots, and he just said, "No, I don't really, I don't really know the rules." And I find it a bit of a strange one, to be honest, that he's turned up to the biggest tournament that there's been in English 8-ball history, having not at least even sort of looked at the rules, and potentially that could have cost him the match, because that was a big turning point.
Yeah.
Just going back to, there's a few people on the live chat that that just asking about or saying about the loss of turn rule. So yeah, as long as you make contact with your own ball first, so as long as you touch your own ball, you can pot your opponent's ball, and no matter where the cue ball lands, it's just loss of turn. So yes, you can leave them snookered, glued behind your ball, and it's loss of turn. They play from where it lands, and there's no total snooker. They have to hit a cushion after contact, irrelevant of whether they snookered or not.
We saw Chris Melling in the first match. I mean, he's quick. Darren Mcvicar is making short work of this as well. Darren probably equally as quick as Chris. Just taking a little bit of time over this one. Just maybe touch straight.
Yeah, the reason he's taking a bit of time is because the yellow that's over the pocket is on the knuckle. And when he checks it in, he's worried that it's not going to bite and he's going to snooker himself behind the red, or at worst, he's going to come the other side of it, you see. So he's got to get a lot of side on this. Played it well. And he was rightly so giving that shot of a bit of attention.
So I recognise one thing, well, I'll just say first that we made a rules video this morning. Myself and Viv just ran through most of the salient points of the rules and the differences between this and other rule sets. You'll find that on YouTube. The one thing that we didn't mention was the black ball. When you come to play the black ball, it has to be played in its own right. You can't play it as part of a combination shot. So if, for argument's sake, you had your opponent had a red over a pocket as his last ball, and the black was just, say, 6 inches away from it, you couldn't play the combination of the black onto the red for the black to follow in. It has to be potted in its own right. Which is obviously slightly different to black ball rules, where you can play it as part of a combination.
And just one thing watching the match is, even though Darren Mcvicar at times the cue ball's a little bit loose, he is a very good potter, and he sort of pots himself out of trouble, and he just looks comfortable. You know, he looks comfortable with where the cue ball's going, and where, to me, Darren, I'll be completely honest, just looks a little bit like fish out of water, a little bit, to be honest. He looks like he's second guessing where the cue ball's going all the time, which he will do because, you know, he isn't playing the game, he's playing American pool, but he just looks like he's second guessing where the cue ball's going a lot of the time. He just doesn't look comfortable, he doesn't look confident, and when you feel like that out there playing a match, it's not a nice place to be sometimes, but he does just look a little bit sort of not quite, well, you know, not quite the, you know, the Appleton obviously that we all know.
And the look for the world that Darren Mcvicar was going to go dry there, but one of the last balls just had a nice kiss and rolled in. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, that's probably the difference between, you know, somebody like Darren Mcvicar who pretty much, I think he in fact lives and works in a pool club, and he's a 147 snooker player, and you know, very much at home on the smaller table. Plays on it daily. Wow. There's me giving him the big up. He's missed that one by a margin as well, hasn't he? He's nearly got it off the black. And he flicked the black on the way through. He was closer to it. The way he's been potting, didn't expect him to miss that one. Don't think he's left much, has he? Doesn't. Can he get through to the potting angle and clip this back in? It's very thin. Maybe going for a double? No. Just playing a nice safety shot, pushing one of the reds safe.
So, Les Church has asked what is the reason for changing the rules for the grand final. If the whole series was supreme rules, then fair enough. Well, the reason behind it was that these rules, they wanted to introduce these rules because they are without doubt the best set of rules. The first two events were split between black ball and world rules because that's all that the players play. These rules have to be introduced, and all of the players know these rules in the sense of before they entered, they knew that this was going to happen, that the grand final was going to be these rules. It wasn't like it's just all of a sudden they've been told, oh, by the way, the grand final's being played to a different set of rules. They knew this obviously at the start, and everyone was happy. And I think going forward that every event should be played to these rules, but the idea behind it was to introduce it sort of subtly for one event. I think had it have just been done off the cuff straight from the start, people may have not wanted to enter because they were perhaps a bit unsure about the rules. This way, half of the players have had their rules to play, the other half of the players have had their rules to play, and then the grand final has always been stated that it'll be to these rules.
Yeah, I think it's just trying to please everyone almost, isn't it? It's something there for black ball players, something there for world rules players, and it's kind of a gradual build up to these rules.
So, and you know, these are the best set of rules. They need to change it all, because for TV, for streaming, for whatever point, you know, you want to say that these are the best set of rules, and they're the most attacking and they're the most simple.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, who knows whether you would have got 128 players of this magnitude if you'd have just said, right, we're playing a new set of rules right from the start. People would have gone, whoa, hang on a minute, maybe been a little bit reserved, but opening it up like they have, and it's emblazoned across the table. It's very much about when two worlds collide. It's trying to get the black ball rule set and the world rules rule set to come together.
And then it wasn't dominant more on one side or the other. There's 5 events, so one of them would have had to been 3 sets of rules, and the other one would have had to been 2. So rather than to show any favouritism towards one of the set of rules, and let's be honest, when you're watching 8-ball, the last thing that you want to see is a 40 or 50 minute frame, especially when going down the route further down of live TV. You can't be having a 40 or 50 minute frame, and at these rules you won't have a 40 or 50 minute frame. Certainly if there's 2 people that understand the rules and understand them how to play them to their advantage, it's impossible to have a 40 or 50 minute frame.
Yeah.
4, 3, 2.
My personal opinion is, you know, if people want English 8-ball to go to the places which we've all wanted it to go to for a long time, including me, you know, starting out playing at 7 years old, then people need to support these rules. You know, whether it be this event or another event, people need to support these rules and have everyone playing one set of rules.
He's thrown his arm at that a little bit, hasn't he? Don't really expect that. Was he trying to create an angle that wasn't there, perhaps? It always seemed like he was going to have trouble, because the yellow that's just above the middle bag, I'm not even sure that drops into the centre, so...
Yeah,
I think you summed it up quite well when you said he looks like a little bit like a fish out of water at the moment. He just doesn't seem to have clicked at all. Darren looking...
oh dear.
Oh no.
Wow.
He can't believe it.
Oh, he did. I don't think he could have put the cue ball there if he could have another 100 goes at that and not put the cue ball there.
No.
Yeah, so there's a lot of positive comments on the chat. The link to the rules, there's a YouTube link, Nick, right, to the rules somewhere that you did.
Yeah. There's it'll be on the Beard Productions page. There's a YouTube video. I would imagine it's probably called The Rules, Supreme Rules.
So yeah, Nick Chalk saying the rules are awesome. They punish you for making a mistake, and that's exactly what they do. If you make a mistake, then the rules punish you rather than gaining an advantage for them, which is the case certainly at World Rules, and to a certain degree even at Black Ball Rules you can gain an advantage from missing or leaving a ball over the pocket, and at these rules you certainly can't.
Oh dear. I was going to say, I thought the black was on its way then.
As I said, you know, Darren doesn't look comfortable, and I think he'll be the first to tell you that he isn't comfortable, but he does know how to win pool matches, and if Darren Mcvicar keeps giving him, gifting him chances, then he isn't going to keep missing. He will find a way. Just as I said that.
Has he ever hit that?
Well, he obviously wanted to snooker him, but this does cut.
Oh dear. That is curtains.
Yeah, I weren't sure, to be fair, there was much more he could do other than just pot that. I mean, the cue ball was on the rail, so he couldn't, I'm not sure he could have done too much more. I think he did pot it a little bit fat. I think if he got it a little bit thinner, it wouldn't have gone enough, but I think there was too much more.
So Darren Appleton very much still in this match. It could have been a very different scoreline by now.
I think Darren will be over the moon to be 5-4, to be honest.
So we talked about some games that potentially are mismatches. Still that continues. Craig Waddingham is 10-1 up against Darren Lightfoot. Adam Marlowe's beaten Gav Robinson 6-1. Zach Shepherd is beating Paul Riley 6-0. That's one I wouldn't have called. I thought that game would have gone a lot closer. It still may. Ben Tanner is 6-3 up against Liam White. I know Liam White was a 1-2 favourite in that. Carl Morris has just started against Adam Penwell. Carl's a big favourite in that game. It's currently 1 each. Lee Clough playing Carl Boys, 2 local lads. I say local to each other. Both live and play out of Blackpool. Don't know each other very well. Currently 4 frames each. Declan Brennan 5-0 against Michael Steele. Yannick Beaufils is 4-2 up against Jamie Graham. And finally Chris Day is 9-3 against Oli Bell. Darren Appleton.
Daz has not only changed where he's breaking from, he's changed his cue. So he's left the Predator standing up against the wall, and he's got his own cue, and he's used the cut break. So obviously fully aware that the break he was using wasn't working, and he's changed it, and he made a ball.
It's amazing how many times you see players when their break's not working, and they just persist with the same break. Darren so far has tried several different things. Tried it on one side, tried it on the other, and now gone to the cut break. So
yeah, and I do personally think that the Predator American cue with a 13, 14 mil tip, whatever that break cue's got, is a little bit too big and a little bit too meaty for the English, especially with the small and the lighter cue ball. Yeah, Stone Pools come on the chat and said more people across the globe basically play these rules. It's great to move forward and 100% help the game move forward, and I couldn't agree more.
Well, it does open up this game to much more interest, doesn't it? I mean, who knows if they run the series again next year? Who knows if we might even get an American player or a Chinese player who are fairly intimate with the rules coming across and trying their luck?
I was in LA with Corey Jewell a couple of weeks ago, and he wants to come and look at playing some English where if the rules are more like what he's used to playing in America, which these are, they're almost identical, then yeah, it's just a matter of him obviously learning the physics of the ball and the tables. He's not got to have to worry about the almost chess side of the game.
It'd be fantastic to get players from stateside across here for this event. It'd be amazing to see them in the mix.
Yeah, and I know people have got this thing, they play new rules, it's a new set of rules, and it's not a new set of rules. They've been playing these rules in America and in China and all across the globe at 8-ball for, 50 more years.
Yeah.
It's just a new set of rules into English 8-ball.
Oh, that's no good. Finished way too close. He's trying to hold the cue ball, but didn't get anywhere near holding it. And I don't think he's got any shot. I don't think he can play yellow into yellow, because he's looking now, but no, just... well, that's a foul as well.
Yeah, it's a foul.
It's not hit a cushion. So again, you see the in-play foul, ball in hand. Just trying to push that red to the side rail just to knock it safe.
Criminal really to under-hit it though, because obviously to foul, if he over-hits it and it bounces on and off the cushion, then it's not as bad as having the ball in hand. And this has worked out okay. He tried to obviously kick them both off, but where it's landed, he's landed dead straight behind it up into the corner, so he'll take this. Phil's asked, would I start playing more English Pro if it went to Supreme rules? It would definitely be a lot more sort of appetising for me to play in a few events, because it's more, you know, the same as the rules that I play. I would have played this year had the commitments in China not allowed it. So, but yeah, it's definitely more appealing. The fact that the rules, although I grew up playing world rules, even now I wouldn't be anywhere near as sort of clued up as the top world rules boys.
Plan for the black here. Obviously needs to try and move it off this shot. Do you think? I think that's what he's tried to do. But well, I don't know why he's tried to play it off the side rail. If he'd have just run directly into it, he'd have pushed the black up and still been guaranteed a shot on the one up along the rail, along the top rail.
Exactly, Nick. He had to go into it direct. If he pushes the black or the yellow to the cushion, he's won.
Yeah. No, he's in all kinds of trouble. That's not going to help his cause.
I think the yellow that's next to the black does pass into the corner. It does just pass into the right corner. Yeah, I think people are saying the scoreboard still says 5-3. Is it 5-4 to Darren? 5-4, not 5-3.
It's 5-4, yeah.
Yeah, it's 5-4. Is he playing the double?
He did. And developed at the same time.
As I said, he won't keep missing. He'll figure it out and he'll settle down. And if Darren Mcvicar keeps gifting him chances like this, he obviously will get beat, because Darren is without doubt one of the all-time greats, and he will find a way to win. He's struggling, and everything looks a bit alien to him at the minute, and he'll be the first person to say it. I'm sure he'll tell you sort of how bad he feels out there, but he will find a way to win if he has to just sort of, if he keeps getting second chances every frame.
So the referee calls frame, and it is indeed 5 frames each. He's completed his mini recovery, and it's all square.
There is some other good matches going on the other stream tables. Obviously, if you do want to watch a different match, there is some other matches. I think Ronan McCarthy's playing on one of the stream tables. Maybe Nick can give you a quick update on.
Yeah, Chris Day is playing Oli Bale over on table 3. That's currently Chris is 10-4 up. Lee Clough and Carl Boys is over on table 11. Carl Boys is 5-4 up. And the other stream game is on table 4, which is Adam Penwell against Carl Morris. So those are the 3 other stream games. I don't think Ronan's in action yet. Is he into? I think he's in the next session.
I think he's on. Is he not on table 5? Yeah, I'm sure he is playing on table 5 at the minute on one of the stream tables.
Time running.
That's good from Viv.
Beg your pardon. He is. It's actually a game from the 2 o'clock session. Sorry, from the from the 2 o'clock session.
I think that game was switched.
Okay.
So
Wasn't aware of that.
But yeah, that was good from Viv. I like that. You know, Darren came to the table and she actually just said, "Oh, you know, can you just give me a few minutes there? I need to mark a couple of balls." And I think that's good refereeing. I remember back in the day when I was playing English 8 ball, and the refs were a little bit, to be honest, a bit like Jobsworth. It was all a bit sort of, they had the power, they made the decision, and if it was, even if it was wrong, it was stuck by just because they made the decision, almost out of pig-headedness. Where it's a lot different now. The refs here do an amazing job, and it's about, you know, getting it right for the players, rather than if you make a wrong call, you can't go back on it even though you made a mistake. That's how it did used to be. I mean, it was only a little thing, but Viv, it was just that 30 seconds saying to Darren, look, you know, could you just give me...
China experience.
You know, just give me a few minutes. I need to mark the balls, and I think it's just little things like that that go a long way. Doesn't want that in.
So this, I mean, all the balls have got a pocket, but it's one of those clearances that he's just got to go about it in the right order. He's not going to have too many options available to him, so he's left himself options here. But, he's going to go corner first.
I think watching Darren is I don't fancy him to miss any balls, but I'm almost just waiting for the positional error to come.
Yeah.
I like it when he just does take that extra sort of few seconds and have a stroll around the table to have a look. It makes me feel a bit more at actually ease watching him. But even here, he's left himself a little bit of a positional shot to play. I think he'll just play on it in the corner.
I almost felt like he was just going to run up and just nudge into the black to leave the one in the middle, but it's, again, that little unwanted flick, but he's got away with it.
I don't know if we can get a pan on Appleton's face now, but
dear me.
I think he might be killing him with his eyes.
Steely look, a steely look. He's seen it all before. Hand up in apology. And Darren giving nothing away. The poker face of a good pool player. Darren Mcvicar retakes the lead. 6 frames to 5. Yeah, that Ronan McCarthy game, well, could be a shock on the cards there. Jordan Templeton, the young Scotsman, is currently 4-1 up against Ronan. And Ronan hasn't looked like going out in the early rounds in any of these games. I think he's been pretty much a stalwart in the quarterfinals, and in just about every event.
He's been Mr. Consistency,
Yeah,
really, yeah.
He's one person you wouldn't mind buying in the Calcutta, because I think he's repaid in just about every one. But now he's just gone 5-1 behind. So he'll need to make a comeback there against young Jordan. Adam Marlowe 6-1 up against Gavin Robinson. Craig Wallingham's beaten Daz Lightfoot 11-1. Zach Shepherd now 7-0 against Paul Riley. Jamie Graham's won 3 frames against Yannick Bofies, and now that's 4-all. Chris Day's beaten Oli Bell 11-4. Unusually a big cluster of balls there.
Yeah, he cut broke again, and he didn't hit him very hard, and they sort of opened and then went back together.
So this is going to be one of those, a lot of traffic in the way.
Although they look clustered, they're actually not too bad. He doesn't need to actually play a cannon or a nudge anywhere. They all go without you having to touch anything.
So you're a tiny bit straight on this one there.
I think he's just okay. Yeah, he can just start. So Keith has asked the question for me. Will you be entering this next year? Yeah, maybe. Hopefully I can arrange it with the China dates that allow me to play. So yeah, hopefully if it goes ahead again, maybe I will. Especially if all the events do get played to these rules, it's definitely more attractive. The reason he's just stalled a little bit is the red that looks like a problem, the one that's closest to the yellow, that only goes into the right corner. He doesn't want to leave that until last because of position for the 8. So he'd like another ball to play on off that makes it easier position to get on. So what he's decided to do is leave these 2 balls that are in the top half of the table.
Yeah, I think probably the natural path would have been to try and take the one on the right-hand side of the table and then work back down. But as you say, that one on ball at the bottom of the table, he's shown a very wise head.
And you know, just a little thing like that there, he didn't think the cue ball was touching that yellow, you see. He thought he was just sliding past it, and because of the lightness of the cue ball, it's just flicked it, and it's left this a little bit awkward. You know, the white might go close to the middle here. Oh, I thought he was missing the yellows completely. Yeah. Oh, he's okay. He'll pot this, and he can just hold the cue ball.
It's one of those you almost just need to kind of play a little sort of drag stun shot, don't you, and just hold the cue ball centre table.
Yeah, he does want to be bottom side of it though. He doesn't want to be low on it. Played it nice.
Cued it well, yeah. I did say I thought this game was going to go close, and we're still there, 6 frames each. Nothing between them. Darren Appleton will break in frame number 13. Carl Boy's now 6-4 up against Lee Clough. I think that would be a bit of a surprise scoreline for a lot of people. The Tower, Lee Clough, is again been a very consistent player throughout all of these tournaments. A really, really tough and gritty, determined player. Very hard to get off the table. Yannick Beaufils is now 5-4 up against Jamie Graham.
Chicago Q Sports has asked Gareth, am I correct in thinking they're the only player so far to win the IPA Worlds and the WPA EPF Worlds? I think so, although I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think so, maybe, yeah. I'm not too good on the stato, but maybe I have to ask someone else that question.
Frame number 13, Darren Mcvicar to break, 6 frames all. Time running.
That's a big break there.
Yeah.
You notice what I was saying, Nick, how he breaks off his hand off the table rather than... The reason why you would use like the loop over bridge off the cushion is because it allows you to get the cue more parallel, flatter. Where obviously if you break off your thumb and then your cue's obviously on the rail on top of your thumb, basically the cue's higher. Mm. But he doesn't seem to have any problem generating the power like that.
I was going to say this frame will quickly be done and dusted, but then with the last roll of the ball, the yellow has gone in between those 2 reds at the bottom of the table, which has made this clearance slightly more awkward. Could attack it straight away if he wants. Play the one in the middle and run down onto it.
Yeah, Darren Norris has just come on there and said on the screen, it obviously does show Darren Appleton to break there.
No, it's just...
I don't know if that was a problem with the... okay,
it's just the graphics, yeah. Darren...
just can't get the staff.
Darren Mcvicar got us underway. he won the lag. The referee calling the audience to order, just getting just conversation, just a few conversations going on throughout the room, just asking for order. So the cue shot coming up here. Again, not absolutely sure what his plan there. I mean, he's come out, I think he's got a shot at it, but a bit fortunate almost to get a shot at it. Just going in and canning that one red out of the way, I mean, trusting luck, because the yellow was never going to go to bottom right pocket, so this was the only shot he could have had. Definitely get through to the potting angle.
He needs a lot of left-hand side, though. Yeah, see all the spin he got, and it still wasn't enough. And this match is just sort of starting to slip away from Darren Mcvicar here, and mainly due to his own sort of quite bad errors, really. And he only won the last frame for a large slice of luck.
You don't see where any mistakes are coming here. Should be a fairly straightforward clearance for Darren Appleton, and this would be to take the lead for the first time. That is one feature of Darren Mcvicar's game. Very attacking, very aggressive player, but you're always going to get chances from him. And this showed the importance of those early frames when Darren Appleton just was doing enough just to stay in the match, and now just beginning to find his rhythm. And if he can find a ball off the next break, then this could be the beginning of the end for Darren Mcvicar. He'll still have his eyes on the prize, though. Won't be giving up yet. I called just 1 or 2 frames in this. I still think it's going to go to the wire. Big break coming up in the next frame. Now Darren Appleton's gone across to that cut break with more success.
Yeah, just to let you know, there is betting on the K8 site. You can go over to that, and I think they've got some offers and promotions there.
Yeah, so if you open an account with k8.com, make a deposit, have a bet today, then you will be in line. One lucky person is going to win a Jason Owen limited edition Supreme Pool Series Q worth £500. And who knows, you might be able to pick yourself a winner.
Frame number 14.
So open an account with k8.com.
Reading 7 frames to 6. Time running.
And also you'll have noticed from time to time on screen we put up the poster for your opportunity to win a Supreme winner table. All you have to do is like and share the post and like the Players Pool Events page, and you will be entered into that draw with a chance to win a table as seen on screen now. And you'll see George, our cameraman, is tinkering with his new toy there. He's got the kind of camera on an arm, which comes in from up high, zooms down onto the table. Great work there.
So, Kevin's asking, saying that there's only betting on the Mosconi on the K8 site. I'm not sure on that. There should be offers on this event. I'll get him to check that and come back to you.
Yeah. We'll clarify, tell you what you need to search. Maybe search for the Supreme Pool Series, but we will get clarification on that anyway. Failing that, you can get yourself a bet with our resident bookie, Jed Ronan. You can get hold of Jed through Facebook. Just search for Jed, G-E-D Ronan, R-O-N-A-N, and send Jed a message, and he'll take your bets. He's doing match betting, and he's doing outright betting. In fact, the match betting may only be for people in the arena, but you can certainly get yourself a bet on the eventual winner. If not, if you live within the vicinity, then come and join us. Come and watch. We've got a decent number of spectators in today and expecting more over the weekend. So come and enjoy the action and rub shoulders with some of these pool players.
And this match is sort of starting to punish Darren Mcvicar now, because he will be sitting there wondering how the hell he's 8-6 behind, and I think Appleton will be sitting there wondering how the hell he's 8-6 up, to be honest. But like I said, if he keeps making mistakes, then he will get punished, and that's what he's done. And when you make a mistake, sometimes at English pool it costs you 2 racks and even more, as it did there. He made a mistake, he cleared, broke and cleared, and it's a tough score when it's like that. So Darren says the stream is the best quality that he's seen. Well done to Beard. They do bring you the best pictures. There is a load of other stream tables as well that you can flick to watch if you prefer to watch a different match.
Frame number 15. Darren Mcvicar to break, trailing 8 frames to 6. Time running.
Absolutely flushed the break again. And that was harsh, because he hit them really as good as you can hit them, and it's almost like making those mistakes here and in the match have now started to punish him.
So races to 11 on the winner's side, races to 8 on the loser's side. Of course, the losers won't be back in action until tomorrow morning. Loser's side starts in earnest at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, while the winner's side will enjoy a nice leisurely, relaxed lie-in. And they're not back on the table until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so they can have a lie-in and a nice relaxed lunch. It's a very, very different game for the winners and the losers. Winners just need to play 4 games to get through to the last 16. Well, as I say, it's a long slog on the losers' side. It can be done though. Phil Harrison proved that. He won the event from the losers' side. He went into the loser's side in round 1 and won the event from there. So it is possible.
Good cannon there from Appleton. The one in this match that he has actually got right when he's played a cannon. And he played it because the red obviously didn't pass into the middle, or he felt as though he had the perfect angle to, and now it is just dot to dot, really.
How different could and should this game be from, it's been littered with mistakes, even from that second frame when Darren Mcvicar should have gone 2-0 and made an error with the positional play. And you can think of many, can't you? Snookered himself on the black.
And even a couple that he did actually run out with, he got quite lucky and made errors and sort of half got away with it.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I haven't fancied him to actually miss any balls, but I have been almost waiting for the positional error to come. Perfect on this, dead straight, so just screw back in a straight line.
And suddenly, with no pressure on him, it looks a different game now for Darren Appleton, doesn't it? He seems to have a bit of a weight lifted off his shoulders and move around the table a bit quicker.
Yeah, you can't help feel that Darren Mcvicar sort of missed the boat a little bit here with this match. I mean, Darren obviously did look uncomfortable at the start of the match and was struggling, but I did say he wouldn't keep playing that bad and that he wouldn't keep missing, and if you keep giving him them chances, then he would settle down, and that's what he's done. He's managed to find a break with the cup break where he's making a ball, and he does look a lot more comfortable now. And he will only grow, he will only get better as this tournament goes on. The more matches he wins, the more comfortable he'll feel, and the more he'll get to grips with where the cue ball's going, and then he will become dangerous.
So John asked a good question there. He's asked about the Chinese 8-ball event, obviously, they had in Bridlington last week, which Clint Jansen won. He asked, would there be more Chinese 8-ball events coming across the UK after the success of that one? I mean, that just to start off, that was a brilliant result for Clint Jansen, wasn't it? I mean, I know that you've practiced extensively with Clint in the past, and he's becoming quite an accomplished Chinese 8-ball player. But to win an event, I mean, some of the Chinese travelled across to that event, and it was good strength and depth in the field. Hats off to him for coming through it.
Yeah, I know, fantastic achievement for Clint, and certainly obviously won't do him any harm going forward. Opening a few doors in the Chinese 8-ball world, and I think the plan is for them to host more events, not only here but all over the world. They want to try and make Chinese 8-ball a worldwide sport, and they want to get more countries playing and more players involved. So they plan on hosting more Chinese 8-ball events all over the world. Dry that time from the cup break, and he did actually hit the cup break a bit harder that time as well. I think Darren's going to have to pot a tricky first ball, whether it be the red into the left corner or the red into the right corner. It's a tricky one. Digging down, and it's one of those where I think Appleton's almost made him miss that, if you know what I mean, with what's gone over the last sort of 5 or 6 frames. Darren Mcvicar's made a lot of mistakes, and Appleton has been punishing him, and that's what happens. You can make your opponent miss. You put him under pressure enough. Granted that that wasn't easy. He was digging down on it. I thought maybe he might have played the red into the left corner rather than the one into the right corner.
Probably couldn't have done much more with the cue ball there. Would have ideally liked to have been another 5 or 6 inches to the right of where he is. But, he can still. He's got balls to either centre. I would imagine he'd probably take the one to left. Slightly more control of the cue ball if he plays that way.
Yeah, he'd like to play it in a way where he's soft screwed onto the other red that's in the middle of the table, because he wants to pot the one into the left middle and just nudge the.
He's going to go right middle, so the cue ball's going to be rolling.
take this.
Yeah.
He actually thought the cue ball was hitting the yellow there on top of the red, and it's just come out even wider and hit the other red.
Another quick look at the scoreboard. Jamie Graham has now gone ahead against Yannick Beaufils after he's been trailing all the way through that. He's 6-5 up. Declan Brennan having no such problems. He's 10-0 against Michael Steele. There's been a couple of whitewashes today already, and that looks like it's on course for another. Carl Boys is now 8-4 against Lee Clough. Carl fairly reeling back the years, showing what he's capable of. Ryan Pisani has travelled from Malta. He's playing Gaz Royds. They're 5 each. Carl Morris, another one reeling back the years. He's playing Adam Penwell. He's 5-1 up. Ben Tanner is doing the job over Liam White at the moment. Liam, always a very fancied local player to the club. Always fancied to do put on in a good performance as a non-elite, but he's 10-6 down. Zach Shepherd 7-0 against Paul Riley. Adam Marlowe 9-2 against Gav Robinson. Darren, well, I was just about to give Darren Appleton, Darren Mcvicar score, but you've got that right in front of you. And Ronan McCarthy's pulled a frame back, and he now trails 5 frames to 2 against Jordan Templeton, the young Scotsman. Darren wisely using his extension. This is another one that he's going to have to cue really well, and he just didn't. And this is a must-win frame for Darren Mcvicar. Little shake of his head there. It's a chance he probably should have taken. Problem's going to be the 2 balls. No, he's underhit that one already.
I think he's just on it, and his plan here would be to leave the one awkward ball, the one across the top cushion, until last. So you leave that until last, and then you don't have to do nothing with the cue ball, even if you do land straight. He's going to have to drop down and play the awkward yellow into the right corner now. He would have preferred it into the left. Perfect. Couldn't have put it better with his hand. And this was a big frame in the context of certainly how Darren Mcvicar's feeling, and obviously the score.
Yeah, this to get it back within 2, and it's going to be his break in the next. So that adds a whole different complexion to the match. 10-6. And Darren Appleton was all but over the line. But now, very much game on again. You still fancy Darren Appleton. He's probably, if the bookie was pricing it, I guess he'd probably be a 1-3 favourite, but Darren Mcvicar still on his tails. And there you see, I mentioned earlier, the chance to win that Supreme Winner table. You will find that post on the Players Pool Events page. It's pinned to the top. Just go across and find it, click like, click share, and while you're there, like the Players Pool Events page, or sorry, the Facebook group, should I say, and you're in with a chance to win that Supreme pool table. And thanks very much to Supreme for their generosity in providing that table. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Home Leisure Direct, to Jason Owen, to Jed Ronan and the Winning Post, to Strachan and to Aramith, and of course to K8.com.
Broke, made a ball, and great chance to get right back into this match here. Has to take these for me. If he misses these and loses this frame, then he's done, I think, but he's got a good chance to get back into this match. And as I said before, what does tend to happen in English 8 balls, you make a mistake, and a lot of the time it does cost you the next frame as well. So this is looks like what's going to, roles reversed, or what's going to happen to Appleton here if he clears these.
So what's his plan for the one difficult ball?
Well, it's not easy to land with an angle where he needs to be careful he doesn't nip this to the near knuckle. He needs an angle where he can go into it, and that angle comes from almost being where the black is. But
Yeah.
how he gets the cue ball there isn't easy.
He's tried to force something that's not really there. Now you feel he just needs to find something here, doesn't he?
He's chasing the finish now.
Yeah.
He's struggling, I think. He's been lucky, but he has been lucky because I think it doubles. He's come round to have a look, and if this doubles, this is unbelievable. It does, it doubles. Well, or trebles. Just careless, so careless. He just got down and just, well, he didn't even queue up to it. This has been a very sort of careless match all round, I think, certainly from Darren Mcvicar's point of view. Towards the back end of the match, Appleton sort of just capitalised on the mistakes, but Darren Mcvicar's already had enough chances to already be out the door already in this match.
Yeah. I think the guys are asking where the book is on K8. I say I will clarify it. Someone did mention on chat that it might be that because the event's in running, they only offered odds up until the start of the event. That may be the case. If it is the case, then you can get a bet on with Jed Ronan. Jed is our in-house bookie. He's here today, and you can contact him via Facebook. Jed Ronan on Facebook. He runs the Winning Post Bookmakers, and he will happily take your bet. Send him a messenger post.
Just got there.
Yeah.
Looks like he's just found the touch a little bit more of the cue ball in the last couple of frames to me. Appleton, he's just sort of putting the cue ball sort of where he needs it rather than sort of just around the area that he needs it.
It's that kind of muscle memory, isn't it? It's just, it sometimes takes a few frames for him to get back into it, but eventually it's always there.
leading 10 frames to 7. Time running.
So Darren Appleton on the hill. Be looking for a nice split. The cut break times the second ball, finds balls in both centre bags, and it looks fairly ominous. He's got a red to right centre, fiddly little cut into the pocket, but if he can make that, everything is in the open. Needs to do nothing with the cue ball.
It's a good shot and it's over. He'll be leaving the red that's almost on the balk line until last. Just play a little soft screw shot there into that yellow as you just pointed.
Yeah, and it's this is the only time it could go wrong, but very, very unlikely to. He was always going to have options of something to play. He's only on one of the three, but that's all he needed.
He just caught it a little bit thick, didn't he? Caught the yellow a little bit thicker than he wants. You can see that he's having to play it with left hand side now, which he doesn't want to. He thought he was glancing off it a little bit thinner. And again, that's just the physics of the cue ball, just catching him out a little bit. And he's decided to play it plain ball now because he doesn't fancy it with a bit of side, which is understandable. Because of that, he's under hit it. So, yeah, I think he'll pot the one that's in the middle of the table into the corner now. I think it goes up into the top right corner. And I think he just pots that, stuns over, and then takes the one that's on the line and then the one that's in balk. I think he has to take it into the corner. Presuming it goes in the corner, like Nick said, we're actually only watching this from a monitor now. We're not sitting out next to the arena. It does go.
Nice pot. Nice pot, well controlled. And just these three balls, and very much case of missed chances and too many mistakes from Darren Mcvicar. Someone of Darren Appleton's class was always going to find it. And find it he did. Well, a little wobble on the way through. The formality of a black. And we'll be joined by Darren Appleton in the interview room in just a few moments, so stick with us to hear from Darren and his thoughts on that game. But for Darren Mcvicar, it's, as I say, a case of missed opportunities, really. He's going to have to make a comeback from the loser side, which is a shame because I've got him in the sweepstakes. So there we go, Darren giving a nod to camera on his way round. We'll speak to you in just a few minutes. So we're joined by Darren Appleton after that win. Darren, probably not a classic Darren Appleton performance. You seem to be struggling a little bit with the cue ball early doors, but a lot of mistakes there from Darren Mcvicar. So you were able to get across the line. What's your overall thoughts on the game?
Yeah, pretty much summed it up. He set off really well. Never seen him play before, so I thought, oh, he's one of them players. Like, he's very dangerous, but a bit loose. But he got off to a flyer. I think it was up 3-1 and then 5-3. I come up dry on my free breaks, hitting him from the centre. He was playing like a punch screw back shot on the break, and he seemed to make balls. So I sort of changed that. I worked one time and then did it again, come up dry. I thought from 5-3, luckily he started making mistakes, and that was a turning point really.
Yeah, I said in the commentary that, you know, to be honest, certainly at the start of the match, you looked a little bit like fish out of water with certainly with the cue ball, and I could see you were second guessing everything that you were doing. Every time you had a little bit of a finesse shot to play with side, you just looked a little bit like you didn't really know where the cue ball was going, and I completely understand how that feels. You know, with playing the American game.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that it's the first time I've ever played in this cloth, and it's a bit more slippery than the Ainsworth or the Strachan, and it's quicker as well. The bed of the table's quicker, so I wasn't comfortable at all with a cloth. Towards the end, it's just hard to judge the speed, but my big mistake was playing the USA versus England match a couple of days ago. I'm sort of regretting that because I did put a lot of work in for this event. But luckily I got through that match, so...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, the question that I seen that you were putting some things up that you were practising English 8-ball, and I thought, you know, okay, he's putting the work in for obviously this, the biggest event that there's been at English 8-ball, and then you went down to London for 4 or 5 days playing a cue sport that's a complete contrast, where you're playing on a Simonis cloth, big cue, spinning everything in with side. And I just thought maybe them couple of weeks had not gone out the window, but I just thought it was maybe a strange decision for you to go and play that.
Well, I went down the day before we played, so I only played on that one day, but it was a long day, 12 hours, and obviously just the size of the ball, so I struggled there. So that might have just knocked my confidence a little bit also. So, but a couple of days, about 2 days before I went there, I was in 50% before I was going to go. But I'd already committed to play, and I'm thinking, well, it's only one day, I'll sort of get away with it. But in hindsight, at this level, probably made the wrong decision. But I'm hoping that I can get into the tournament and it won't affect me, because I was hitting the ball really good like 4 or 5 days ago, playing English 8-ball. But like Gareth, when you're away for a long time and you're playing with the big balls, it's vital to get that cue ball where it's more being comfortable at playing the shots. So sometimes I was avoiding playing that shot, like you say, like the little touch shots, just because I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? So I'd take the coward shot really.
Yeah, I noticed a few times you were playing cannons, and I know a couple of times I think the cue ball actually probably hit the wrong ball, and you thought it was going to hit. There was one where you cut a red into the middle, and you thought the cue ball was cannoning a yellow off the top of another red, and you actually hit your red first on the way through. Just the physics of the cue ball is so hard, especially with the cue ball being smaller than the other balls. It's so hard to tell yourself because when you're under pressure, you revert back to what comes natural to you. Yeah. And what comes natural to you is obviously playing American pool. Yeah. So you're just almost second guessing everything that you're playing all the time. And obviously when you're playing against good players in big match situations, it's difficult. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, just get the match out of the way. Really, obviously he surprised me at the start. So I think, tough match because obviously a lot of these players I don't know them. You know what I mean? So. So sometimes you're playing a little bit blind. So it was just a case, just try and get into the game, get the result, which I'm happy with, and hopefully I'll kick on from here and be a bit more confident with the cue ball. But obviously my next match I'm going to have to play a lot better.
Yeah, so your next match you actually play Mark Farnsworth, who's arguably been one of the best players English 8-ball in the world for the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years. So obviously that'll be one of the ultimate tests really. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because obviously you want to test yourself against the best players just to see where I am really. But it's like one of the things you've got to get the breaks and take it from there and just focus on your own game, and then just try and look forward to the game. Hopefully it's on the stream, and that might be an advantage for me having had a game on there.
Yeah, Darren, it's hard to have you here and not ask you a question. I mean, obviously we touched on the fact that you've gone down to London to play in the warm-up for the Mosconi Cup. You haven't been in the Mosconi Cup for a couple of years now, because of your time away from the table probably, but did that kind of give you that hunger? I mean, your Mosconi Cup, we're on the verge of it. It starts on Tuesday, I think. So are you know, have you got your sights firmly set on trying to get back into that?
Well, I've got my sights back on playing pool, which is the first thing I'm happy about, is that I've actually enjoyed practicing the last 2 or 3 weeks. So that's the start of everything, because if you're not enjoying playing, then it's very tough. So at least I've got the younger back to play. So yeah, I mean, I'll play American pool next year also, and probably play a few English 8-ball events. Yeah. And try and get back in the mix of it all.
Be good to see you back there for sure.
Yeah, maybe go to China as well. I mean, pool is just everywhere now, isn't it? Of course it is, all these disciplines, but it's hard to not play these tournaments when it's on your doorstep. Yeah. When I'm back in England, and obviously Lee and his team's put a great event on, so I mean, you've got to be stupid to not play. And so that's why Gareth's not playing. Maybe back next year. I think you've got the bug.
Just one final question. Obviously, the first time at playing these rules, or the first time, obviously within this event that we played these rules. They didn't come into it too much during that match, but how are you finding them? You must be fairly used to them anyway.
Yeah, I like the rules. I think it's a slightly different tactic because of the size of the table and the tightness of the pocket. So it's different to American 8-ball. It's similar to Chinese 8-ball, but Chinese 8-ball it's very difficult to. The only situation what might happen is that you have a sort of a stalemate situation, and that's going to be very tough because like you don't get free shot, and if you've got a couple of balls around the black, you're really still the favourite.
Yeah, and I think you know what you mean by how the tactics are so different, even though the rules are the same, is what's safe on an English table after you play what you class as a loss of turn shot, where I play my ball onto his. What would that be safe on a Chinese table wouldn't be safe on an English table. Yeah. So if you've got a ball on the rail and I'm just potting your ball and leaving you on the top cushion, well, on a Chinese table you're over the moon with that because you ain't really going to pot it. Yeah. On an English table you don't really want to leave that same shot. Yeah. So tactically, even though the rules are the same, you've got to be a little bit more sort of aware of where you're leaving your opponent, especially obviously against the top players.
Yeah, there's only really one situation where I'm still on the fence with it, is that I could have the black along the rail and just roll it to the pocket, and if he's got a few reds, my opponent's got a few balls around that black, he can't really win the frame. Yeah. So it can be an advantage to miss. I mean, obviously you want to pop the black, but if you miss it, it's sort of a free shot. Yeah.
But at the rest of the time, if you miss your ball at the rail, you don't gain no advantage from missing. Yeah. So there's not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's one of the colours, one of your colours,
you've almost lost.
You're in trouble. So that's good, you know. Yeah. But the black, so that's why I'm thinking maybe the free shot would have been good in that situation, because your opponent can be sort of dead by that situation. But everything kind of looked at. But they're definitely the best rules, isn't
it? Like I said, the rules are the rules now, and people are saying, "Oh, they're a new set of rules." They're not really a new set of rules.
No,
they play them globally.
They're the most global rules.
It's just that they're new to English 8-ball. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. There's maybe a few tweaks that can be made to improve them along the way, but the foundation is these are the rules that we're playing, and these are without doubt the best set of rules to take the game forward.
Definitely the best set of rules and the most recognised rules worldwide. Yeah, so that's good for everybody.
Darren, always a pleasure. Yeah. Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers, mate.
So that was Darren Appleton. He's going to go through on the winner's side. He's going to face Mark Farnsworth in the next round. So another tough opponent, but we wish him the best for the rest of the tournament.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And next up on stream is going to be the introduction of Tom Cousins to the event, and he's going to be playing the real number one, George Tierney. So another very good game in store. We'll see you back. That was due to start, I think, at 2 o'clock. But if you need to know the scores, the timetable, you'll see it on qscore.com. We'll see you all very soon.